Hey guys, it's Karen and I'm about to do something really stupid. So I'm behind on laundry. I also have loads of stuff that I need to do to get ready for Christmas. I don't care. I'm gonna do something irrational. I'm gonna take every book that I own but have not read, put it in a massive pile, Marie Kondo style. Go through that pile, inventory everything, make sure that everything I have but have not read is showing up on my story graph under to read, and then I'm gonna reorganize them. Maybe even unhaul some, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have already done that, so I feel like what I actually still own is what I actually still want to own, but I am just in the mood for a massive, figure out what I have, frickin' reorganize it, appreciate it, and then put it back on the shelf. It's 5 p.m., which I feel like is a perfect time to start a massive project like this that's going to take up my entire living room. Let's go. Okay, so here's the idea. So, obviously when you reorganize your books in a different way, then it just makes them fresh, because sometimes you can stare at the same books all the time and they don't seem new or interesting to you because they're in the same order, they're just always there. And when you look at them and mix them up in a new order, then it just makes them feel fresh and more interesting. Not that I'm not interested in my books, because there are so many that I'm super excited to read, and I wish that I could just read constantly. However, I do have other interests as well. So here's the idea. Instead of being normal and organizing them by genre or by author or some normal way, I think I'll organize them by the year they were published. So already on my cart, I have one book that I have an early release of, and it is going to be published next year. So I put that on my TBR cart. And so the top shelf of my TBR cart is going to be 2024 stuff. So obviously the priority is if stuff comes in to read it. So that's why it's only going to be the top shelf, because hopefully I'm staying on top of things. And I do have a few things pre-ordered that are coming out in 2024, but I'm going to have a rule about buying new books. I'll come to that later once I get everything organized. I want to focus on 1 year at a time, trying to conquer that year. And this kind of came from Heidi, because she was talking about like an ancient TBR, and then she's going to try and conquer I don't know what year, but some books she bought in a certain year. And I was thinking about doing that with Parnassus's first edition book club, because I do not always read all the books right away that come to me. 12 books a year. I don't know, oftentimes I just don't get to them right away. But yeah, so I thought that I would figure out how many books were published in each year and then organize them on the shelves from most recent to the oldest, and then make a list of how many were published in each year and use that to help me, like, encourage me to read through all the things. So if I only have one book that was published in 1882, well, then maybe I'll start with that before reading the 24 books I have that were published in 1995 or whatever. I haven't counted them yet. Hey everyone, it's the next morning and I have a few minutes till I have to go to work, but I kind of want to show you the stressful situation that I went to bed with last night. So I did a lot of work, but this is all what's left still. So basically last night I put away 2024 books, well, the only one that I own right now, 2023 and 2022. And it's really nice to walk into my bedroom now. Like, I do have this whole wall that is just Christmas gifts that are a hot mess and need to be wrapped. But like, my bed is perfectly made and like the shelves on either side are just perfectly full, not overflowing. And then I have this one shelf that I'm just starting to fill right now, and will fill with 2021 stuff. Okay, just look at this situation. Like, it looks so much nicer when the shelves are not overflowing. And the reason that this one is still empty mostly is because I do have a lot of books that are in the mail right now due to my splurge purchase of indie press books and stuff like that. So I will need more space for 2022 and 2023. So what I did is start here with 2023 books, and I did them alphabetical, and these are all fiction. And then nonfiction are up here. Oops. That's my dog. Okay. And then extra room for the other books. And then below that, then I started the fiction for 2022. And this is how far I got with that. So there's still extra time. Actually, fiction goes to like here, and then nonfiction starts. So one of the things that I talked about a while ago is that I want to read 100 books from my own shelves. And what I thought I would do just to make that more fun is a little bit different than I talked about yesterday. What I think I'm going to do is create a spinner, and just throughout the year I'll spin it and it will get to a year, and then I'll try and focus on reading all the books that I own that were published in that year. However, I'm still going to mood read. Like, I'm not like, oh, I can only read 1995 books, of which I have 0, by the way. I will still mood read and read whatever I want, but I will just like, that will be like my priority. Yeah, I think this is a great idea to like conquer your TBR in small sections, and also just to make it fun and make it different, freshen things up a bit. So with that being said, I need to quickly eat breakfast and head to work. When I get home from work, what I would like to do is I would like to go through the rest of the years. Like, I want to finish. I want to come home to a clean apartment on Friday after work. But what's going to happen is I am going through Storygraph's list of the books that I own. So when I go through that and I put every single book on the shelf based on publication year, what I'm guessing will happen is that there will still be books on the floor, which means they have not been entered. So then I'll be able to enter them and add them to the shelf, which is also another reason why I'm leaving extra space. But it's just like a fun and different way to do an inventory of all my unread books and figure out the official number of books that I have not read. In addition, yesterday I was going through Storygraph just trying to figure out how many years I have books for. And I ended up making a spreadsheet where I have the year and then the number of books that I have not read from that year. And I just did it for like all the years that I have books from. And then I ended up thinking like, oh, like this is really cool. Like I was thinking like, oh, 1995, I have 0 books. Well, that was when I was in 4th grade. Like just going through the years and thinking about, okay, this book was published when I was this old or when I was doing this sort of thing. And then it made me think of like what books I have that I have not read that were published like in my lifetime, and which ones were published like before my lifetime. And so, yeah, I thought it would be cool to keep track of how many books I own that were published in my lifetime. And I will put the accurate number below, or at least accurate as of this filming, which actually hopefully it will be after my inventory is done, so it will be accurate. But I think right now there's like 356 or something like that. So yeah, it's just a different way of thinking about your TBR. I'm 3 minutes early for work and there are like no cars in the parking lot. What the heck? Either everyone has you know what, or people just show up at the last minute in December. Okay, so I thought I would give you an update on where I am at this point. This is around the same time as yesterday when I started, and I am kind of seeing the end, although I'm having the best time of my life. So basically, I decided that I moved from Illinois back to Michigan in 2019, and thus everything that's on display in my room is going to be from 2019 or like more recent. And that's really all that fits on display in my room. So I'll show you what I have so far really quickly. Okay, so we start over here on the left side of my bed. I think I showed this before, but like this is more official. So this is 2023 fiction. (2023) nonfiction. My dog. 2022 fiction. More 2022 fiction, and then it goes into nonfiction. And then 2021 fiction starts right here and goes into nonfiction. And then we have 2020, the year that everyone will remember. 2020 fiction and nonfiction. And then 2019, the year I moved here, fiction and nonfiction. Now, this is what's left. As I'm trying to organize what I already have, I just got another package delivered with books. Okay, these are in preparation for the Book Naturalist book club. I noticed there was a sale at Barnes & Noble, and so I got some of these. I don't know if I'm going to participate every month, but I definitely got the ones that I felt like needed to belong in my book family, that were like independent presses or were written by Black authors or Indigenous authors or whatever. So here is what is in here that needs to be organized now. A Darker Wilderness, Black nature writing from soil to stars. How Far the Light Reaches, which is about crazy, like unusual animals in the ocean. And I think it is written by, I don't know if they're gender queer or what they are, but they use they, them pronouns. Okay. Then Black Faces, White Spaces. And finally, oh, well, this one has bubble wrap stuck in it. Soil, the story of a Black mother's garden. I am done. I am exhausted, but I am done. I know that this was a dumb decision, especially at 5 p.m., like, because there's no way I would have finished it before bed, which I didn't. And I have loads of stuff that I need to do for Christmas, and obviously this just took up 2 days worth of free time. But I had the best time, so I'm not mad about this decision at all. Let's review some of the stats that I kind of figured out as I was doing this. So, first of all, how many books do I own and have not read? The reason I wanted to do this was I wanted to make sure that my story graph matched up with what I actually owned, so it was kind of like an inventory process. Some of the changes I made were if it was like a spiritual book or something that was more like reflective and something that you wouldn't really read cover to cover like in one go, really, I removed it from my TBR. So I do have a bag full of like Christian books and spiritual books and just some more reflective stuff. Like my mom's going through cancer treatment right now. So I have like, you know, some books dealing with that too. And like just any of the slow reflective ones are not on the TBR. I also found one book that really belongs in my classroom. It was a book on teaching Black students, and so I need to read it before work. I usually devote some time in the morning every single day to read from a journal, or like that would be a perfect book to read from. In addition, I also removed all children's books from my TBR because I feel like I don't buy kid books for the most part. Like it's not something that is a struggle for me or something that I'm like hoarding. So I just feel like they can be on my shelf and I'll read them if I read them. If I don't, I don't. But I just don't want them on my TBR. I want my TBR to be adult fiction and nonfiction. Also, something to say is that there were some books that were on there twice, and so I removed them. There were also books that were on there that I no longer own, and thus I also removed them. So this is an accurate number. So the final count of how many books I own and have not read that fit into the adult fiction or nonfiction category is, place a guess, you know, just in your mind before I tell you, 447. I have so much work to do. And I did unhaul like a handful, but I had already been through my books so many times. There's really not much to unhaul. Like I really, really, really want to read all of these so much. So with that being said, okay, so this project has made me not rethink or tweak my goals, but kind of add on. So I organized my TBR cart, and the top shelf is books that were published in 2024. Now I'm using past tense, even though it's not 2024, because I do already have one book that I got early access to. So there is one book on the shelf that will be coming out technically in 2024. That's going to be my top shelf. And the goal by the end of 2024 is that there's nothing left on that shelf, because I want to prioritize that when books come in that are recently published, that I actually read them. I know it's going to be life-changing, okay? So that would be cool if at the end of 2024, there were no books on the top shelf of my TBR cart. And then the other thing is I want to pick a year. I'm going to use a random generator spinner sort of situation, and it will select a year for me, and I am going to focus on reading all the books from that year. And if I get through them all, then I can pick another year. But even though I'm not going to read only books from that year, like I will read other things as well because I'm a mood reader, that will be kind of my Everest. That will be my focus to start 2024. And furthermore, we have 1 week left of school. So not Friday, but the following Friday, right before Christmas, is our last day. And then we have a very, very short break. So I am going to wrap up my favorites of the year, like the last day of school. And then when break starts, that will be when I start 2024 reading, even though I know it's not 2024. So with that being said, I was thinking about what years to put on this spinner. And I was thinking that I could put all the years that I have books from. And that would be really cool because, for example, if I spun a wheel or a year that only had one book, well, bam, like instant gratification, read that book and you're done. But from a consumerist hoarding book situation type thing, I decided that I lived in Illinois for quite some time, and I recently-ish moved back to Michigan. I have been in Michigan since February of 2019. Thus, any book, with the exception of a few, that is from 2019 or 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, has come with me, like has come into this Michigan life. Like it wasn't born yet when I moved to Michigan. And that is a total of 223 books. So what I would like to do is only put those years on the spinner because it's just this idea of like, I moved here without those books and now there are 223 of them. I should focus on those and just kind of conquering those before I work on other stuff. And obviously, like, I have purchased backlist books that were published before that, but I'm just saying, like, those books didn't even exist in the world and I would like to read them. So with that being said, I'm gonna get the spinner set up and let's see what year I land on. Okay, so I got 2021, so like post the year of horribleness. So let's see how many books I have in 2021 that I will need to conquer. And then I'm gonna see if I can post a list of all the books that I own from that year so you guys can like sort through them and be nosy and tell me what I need to read. Okay, so 2021, I have 48 books that were published in 2021 that I have not read yet. So that is kind of a big number. In 2020, I only had 25, so that would be definitely much more doable, but I can still do this. I have confidence in myself. 48 books. Psh. Okay, you guys, I'm exhausted and I can't be bothered to try and properly record my screen to show you all the books. So I just thought I would come to my shelf and quickly show you the books. And then you can tell me, what do I need to read? Okay, so 2021 starts here. So do any of these look like something I need to read? Obviously the trees, that's gonna be a big one. Okay. I feel like with those as my choices, this is going to be an amazing start to a new year. Thank you guys so much for your patience on missing a Vlogmas video so that I could make a hot mess of my life, put my entire life back together, and live my dream life, okay? So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. All your comments below. If I stressed you out, I'm also very sorry. I was stressed out myself with a pile of books in my living room, more specifically piles. But anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow.